Well, good afternoon, everybody. I am Ryan here, Michigan Storm Chasers. We are beginning our severe weather coverage in the UP. We have our first severe warning in effect for a couple counties. We have Ontonagon County, we have Houghton County, and we have Baraga County in the UP. This is going to be for quarter-size hail, and that is the only hazard with this storm. We can see the nice hail core here. Someone give me a thumbs up in chat if you guys have the audio okay. Just let me know before I get too far. Just make sure I'm good to go. But we have the nice hail core here crossing over into Houghton County as we speak. As we can see here, it's going to cross FH16 here, just south of M38, east of M26, US 45 here in the UP. And this is going to be a warning in effect for 47 more minutes. Puts us close to 4:15 in the afternoon here. Also keeping a close eye on cells further back west here toward Ashland that are currently not in Michigan, but will be pushing our direction here relatively soon, I have to imagine, as this line progresses. We have multiple storms off to the west here that are pushing our way, so perhaps numerous severe storms incoming for our afternoon here in the UP. All right, guys, audio's good. Awesome. Good to hear. Thank you guys for that. Be live here for as while as wow. We'll be live here as long as we have severe. So tune in, strap in. We'll be live until this event is over, or until the severe threat is actually minimal. I will say Joel was supposed to be hosting, but Joel's actually in a meeting right now, so I was not set up and prepared for this. So I'm going to host, and hopefully we have a spot we can kind of switch off later on this afternoon. But for right now, I got you guys here. For the UP here. No, there's no risk for the LP here today. It's mostly just UP. The LP risk comes tomorrow. So today should be primarily up in the Upper Peninsula here, and that should be it. If you didn't catch Joel and Drew's briefing back at 11 o'clock, it is archived on both Facebook and YouTube. If you want details on tomorrow's risk, go ahead and go back and watch that through. We do have a risk for tomorrow as well, further south, but focus should remain up here in the UP. Now, there's no big towns here in the path of this severe storm, which is really good news. But it is a nice hail core here. And turn on the hail tracker, you're going to probably see, yeah, that's a maxed out hail tracker there. That is ginormous. The radar product I'm using called GR2 indicates hail size roughly about $50. And it looks like the hail core is well upwards of 20 to 25,000 plus feet, which is a very nice, healthy core on this storm. In fact, the core of this is going up to 35,000 feet. That's a very tall updraft, very tall storm. And that is likely why we have this severe warning in place for hail. So if you're up in the UP, I know it's a pretty rural area up here, but if you have reports or pictures, feel free to send those in to us. This is going to be a group for you guys on Facebook called Michigan Weather Reports. Again, it's a group on Facebook. We allow you guys to submit your storm pictures, reports, damage, etc. If you have fair weather pictures, just like sun, cool clouds, stuff like that, please use our other group for non-urgent pictures and stuff like that. It's called Michigan Weather Community. That will be your group to use for non-urgent stuff. But if it's storm related, please use the weather reports page for that. Make sure this is all good to go here. Pop that out. Perfect. Like I said, I was not really prepared to go live here. So bear with me as I get myself set up here. One warning in effect for the entire state currently, and that's going to be up in the UP. It is possible we could have more. Absolutely possible. We have a slight risk up in the UP today, so it's definitely a possibility that we can get a few more warnings here today. And the risks today are damaging winds, large hail, and we cannot rule out a tornado up there here in the UP as well. This storm is not really exhibiting rotation at the moment. We're going to track it, and we're going to be very cautious to watch for that today, although this storm currently does not exhibit anything rotational wise. There we go. Yeah, it just takes me a second to, if I'm not set up, I got to do like 4 or 5 things that I got to click through and make sure it's all set up properly for like YouTube and the chats and stuff like that. So it takes like 3 or 4 minutes to get situated, but we're good to go. Also, I realize in the haste of getting this going here, I do not have our communication set up. So I'm going to get into Discord here. Now we should have Drew with us. Say hi, Drew. You are live with us. If he's in here.
What's up, guys?
There he is. Is your camera on, Drew?
It should be, yeah.
There we go. We got Drew on here now. All right.
Guys.
Tracking this only severe storm currently in the UP. It's going to be severe warning in effect for the eastern part of Ontonagon County, the southern central half of Houghton County, and the very far west part of Baraga County. Houghton County is a very large county. Just notice that. It spans, it's very tall, very slim and very tall. So this warning is going to be in effect here for the central part of Houghton County, the western part of Baraga. This is right here. Houghton County is right here. And then Ontonagon's back here. Warning's in effect until 4:15 p.m. Eastern Time. Quarter-size hail is the only hazard being displayed here on radar. I do not see winds velocity on this being a big concern. I don't see anything rotational-wise with this as well. They just trimmed the warning back, and they continued it for quarter-size hail and less than 50-mile-per-hour winds. GR2 indicating the hail size is 1.44 inches. Now, that's estimated based on what the radar sees. It's not always going to be 100% accurate, but it can be a good indicator that, hey, we do have probably some large hail falling in this area. Go ahead and zoom in here and track the hail core. We're going to notice the center of it. It's going to be basically in the little bump out here of Ontonagon County, about to cross into Houghton very shortly. This storm is moving to the east at roughly 25 miles per hour, and that is a very slow storm speed. So also keep in mind, if you guys live up this way or camping or have family or friends, loved ones, feel free to let them know. We could have some localized flooding with these storms as well with the slow storm speeds. Wouldn't be shocked to see a few flooding reports or perhaps a flood advisory issued for some areas up there. Also zooming out, taking a look back here to the west, a new warning being issued to about the state line over here in Wisconsin for White River areas. That warning is going to be for wind and Nichols size hail, so not severe hail, but the wind on this storm, there you go. The wind on this is actually a bit more intense. This could be pushing our way the next hour or so. So Ironwood, Wakefield areas in the very far west part of Gogebic counties, or is it Gogebic? I think it's Gogebic. Western part of Gogebic County should be on alert here next hour as that storm pushes your way. And behind that line, we have more storms back here. So we could have numerous rounds. These all hold together and push into the western UP here. Outside of the
I'm definitely
go
ahead, Ryan.
No, go ahead, Drew. Go ahead.
Definitely curious about that cell that is just about to enter into the UP, and just like you were mentioning, those winds are definitely concerning, and definitely a much even more mature cell than the other one. So we'll see what happens here as it moves off to the east.
Yeah, I believe our better ingredients, if I recall correctly from this morning, our better ingredients are kind of coming into play a little bit later on this afternoon, like 5-6 o'clock time frame and after. So we'll have to kind of keep an eye and see how the ingredients come together, wind shear and stability overlap. These storms out here, I would have to assume they're elevated, meaning that they're not surface-based, which means wind and tornadoes aren't going to be a huge concern. But looking on radar here, I would definitely expect this one back here to be surface-based. So we'll keep a close eye on that. This storm would eventually be traveling toward Lance, Baraga, Alberta, and Herman areas if it continues on its eastward trek here. Appreciate you guys hopping in our weather reports group here. I don't see any pictures, but I see quite a few requests to join. So I see a lot of people coming in here and being a part of the group. Appreciate you guys joining up. I'm going to switch my capture over to this. There we go. We can kind of toggle back and forth. So GR2, the radar product we're using behind the scenes, it's more advanced, has a hail marker on this now at 2.15 inches. Again, that marker is just a rough estimate based on what the radar's seeing. It's like kind of think about like AI, so to speak. It's a guess. It can get you close, but not perfect. But looking on the hail core going up with height, I mean, this is very, very potent updraft here. This is a 60 dBz core, 67 dBz at 29,000 feet. So I would not be shocked if there's larger than quarters falling here. I also wouldn't be shocked if they upgrade this to like a $50 size hail, or perhaps something similar to that. The hail core on this is very tall, very healthy. Eastern part Ontonagon County, central part of Houghton County, and the western part of Baraga County is within this warning until 4:15 p.m. And that's not our only concern. Well, it is concern right now, only concern in the state, but back here further west, keep mentioning this line is going to push into the state here about an hour, maybe hour and a half. That's also an area to watch here for severe weather with damaging winds, perhaps even a brief tornado being possible today.
Looking behind the scenes here at Mesoanalysis right now, we definitely have the Cape here for severe storms. We have 3,000 in certain parts of the western UP, and definitely the effective wind shear as well. We have about 40 knots of it associated with that cell that Ryan has pulled up right now. So lapse rates are also, low-level lapse rates are also decent too. So definitely not surprised that these storms are hitting that severe criteria just based on these ingredients alone.
Latest GR2 hail tracker has 2.57 inch hail. That is insane. I doubt it's that large, but I would definitely not be shocked if there's larger than quarters falling with this storm. And that would be on the tail end back here in this part of the storm. And the good news is there's no big towns here. It's mostly just rural areas. Pori, Russo, and Frost would be the only areas that I would see in this general vicinity. It's going to be on the county line of Houghton and Ontonagon. There's no major cities out ahead of this either. There's some populated areas here. It looks like there's some houses here. It's going to be Blue Road and Orange Road. Colors. Interesting. Also, Drew is kind of getting that look to it. It's trying to be like supercellular in nature. It's kind of got that little bump out, and it's starting to look a little bit more supercellular. So I wonder if we're going to see a transition from like a surface or from an elevated storm to surface based.
Yeah, I would definitely agree. Just looking behind the scenes here, as well, we have supercell composite values of 4 and even a pocket of 8 in northwestern Wisconsin. So we definitely have the shear and even some directional shear. We'll see if these storms take advantage of that as they continue to move off to the east here.
Yeah, we're going to watch this storm over in Wisconsin closely. It's 2 counties away from the UP, but the wind with this would be a huge concern if this continues to progress towards Ironwood. But let's go ahead and track this out time-wise. The warning box says moving east at 45. Let's go ahead and do a track toward Ironwood and see what time that puts us in roughly. We're about 36 miles away. Whoopsies, I had the wrong mode on. Why is it doing this to me? I have the cell mode on. Interesting. I'm trying to get a track on this, but it's not really letting me do anything. There we go. Let's go 45 on that. Puts us in Ironwood at about 52 minutes. So if you're in the western part of the UP, about 45 minutes to about an hour or so is the rough guess for the arrival time of this storm, with potentially some wind with it. So western Gogebic County, feel free to stay on alert as that storm progresses your way. Wind and hail primary concerns, but cannot rule out a tornado with that. Yeah, VIL's kind of split up now, and it's very potent hail core still falling up here, and storm is it's not moving very fast at all either. So if you notice, we zoom out here, it's got a nice long training line here, which could become some concern here for some flooding if these start going over the same areas. Like, I'm kind of thinking like Lance over here, any areas like over in this general vicinity may have some potential for flooding with this as well, because we have numerous storms ongoing and still incoming. So warning continues for quarter-size hail. I would expect them to just about be ready to trim out the eastern half of Ontonagon County, as that storm is almost completely exited the county, and now it's going to be entering Houghton County and then eventually Baraga.
As what Ryan was mentioning right now, we're mainly just focused on the western UP. Well, first of all, that's where the storms are at, and second of all, that's just where the best environment for severe weather is currently at right now. So nothing going on in lower Michigan right now.
Yeah, lower Michigan doesn't really have a threat today, Drew. Am I right about that? It's more so tomorrow.
Yep.
So it's just a UP threat today. And then tomorrow we'll have a shot for more widespread weather down further state. So I'm going to do something real quick.
I believe my radar is screen shared. Let me know if it's coming through on your end.
Okay, give me 1 second. I will check it here.
Here, actually, it just kicked me out. Let me try this again. All right, it should be good now.
Let's go ahead and try and take Drew's screen full here. There he is. Yep, you're live.
Sweet. All right. So once again, we're tracking this cell here in western UP in Ontonagon County, as well as, I want to make sure I get this right,
Gogebic and Baraga.
Okay. Baraga. All right, sweet. Berrigan County. Once again, hail is the main threat with this cell here as it continues to move off to the east. Definitely has some lightning in it, as well as some very heavy rainfall here. Yeah, definitely some very potent rainfall as well as lightning. Hail is the main threat. Some gusty winds, but right now they're not really anticipated to be severe. And newest up scan just really intensified that hail core right there. Just southeast of Greenland and Rockland. We'll zoom in here. Not seeing any major towns popping up here, but I'd say if anyone's living southeast of Rockland and Greenland, try to get some road names here. Let's see here. Yeah, this will be once again right along the border here, east of, oh boy, Pori, I think would be the best way to put it. Really just on top of Pori. Let's go to CC here to see the hail core here.
Yeah, Drew, this likely is checking out larger than quarters. Truthfully, this is probably $half at least. We'll see if they update the warning on this, but it's still for quarter size. But with that hail core, with the height of this storm, I would not be shocked to see hail easily larger than a quarter with this.
Yep.
Also, quick reference over near Baraga there on the right side of your screen. Near Lance, I'm getting a nice hail core forming over there too, so we'll have to watch that one for perhaps additional warning incoming for Baraga County over further east.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, we're just having multiple updrafts kind of taking blossoming around the cell here, both west and east here as well. Another cell developing just southwest of Rockland right now. And then we also have this cell here as an extreme northeastern Wisconsin, and will be entering Gogebic County. That's how you say it, right?
Gogebic, yep.
All right. They'll be entering here in Ironwood as well. But right now we're focused on this cell here with this very impressive hail core that's most likely having hail that is much bigger than quarter size. Now, if it's falling down, time will tell. If anyone is living around this area, once the storm has come by, if you guys have hail to report, feel free to send that to our Michigan Weather Report page. Once again, we don't want you guys to run outside if there's hail falling. That's not what we want you to do. But once the storm passes by, if it's safe to do so, if you want to take a picture, use accurate measurements if you can. Get some like quarters or ruler, and include a date. A time and a location, as well as a rough size, and send that to both the National Weather Service of Marquette as well as our Michigan Weather Report page if you can do so.
Hello, everybody.
Oh, Joel.
Hi.
A wild Joel has appeared.
I have. Let me get my camera on real quick.
Yep, you're on screen, so you'll be there. There we go. Considerable warning for 2-inch hail. 2-inch lime size hail. Joel or Drew, take over, and I'm going to get a post on the page real quick.
Okay.
Drew, I think yours is still live. Yeah, you're still live.
Yes, I believe, yeah. Pull up CC here. New special weather statement just came in as well, and that would be for Baraga County as well as portions of Houghton County as well. I'll quickly go to that. That would be for... Wait, hold up. This is just an old special weather statement. For some reason, that popped in a lot later than what it was supposed to. My apologies.
I was like, you can take me. I got my radar ready. It should
Okay.
be good.
Okay.
There we go. So here is your new box for this considerable severe thunderstorm warning now. As recently upgraded a couple seconds ago, you can see on your screen, this is your base reflectivity radar. So this is going to be the intensity of rain that's falling. Anywhere where the reds and the pinks are, that's going to be your heavy rainfall. And we even have some black pixels back here in the far southwest quadrant of this storm. Again, there's an AI indicator right here that says hail could be upwards of 1.5 inches. And you can see that the severe thunderstorm warning has been upgraded to 2-inch hail here, which is about tennis ball size. The winds are still less than 50 miles per hour. So if you live anywhere southeast of Greenland, Michigan right now, this is going to be south central Houghton County. Again, County Road FF16 is right where this hail core is going to be. You need to be taking shelter away from windows. Again, wind-driven hail is a possibility, but hail in general, 2 inches in diameter, is likely. And again, this is going to be heading up towards Pelkey and eventually towards Lance. I forgot, there's a different pronunciation for that, but it's Lance. That's what it was.
Is it Lance?
I was trying to remember for a second. I was triggering my memory there for a second. It's Lance, I believe. And Keweenaw Bay. So this is heading directly to the northeast. You can see it as we loop it here. It's also back building a little bit, so we could also see some heavier rainfall rates, which could mean a little bit of flooding here across the region. This is the only severe thunderstorm warning in the state of Michigan right now. If you're in the lower peninsula, you do not have to worry about the storm. If you are in Baraga County, you should be on alert for this storm. We also have surrounding special weather statements in effect. I will say the special weather statement is likely going to be, well, it should be canceled, but obviously it lets it run its time. That special weather statement, not of a concern. The only concern right now is this considerable severe thunderstorm warning. If we take correlation coefficient radar, you can see what's called a third body scatter spike. Basically means that the hail is so thick that the beam is being refracted off the backside of the storm and resulting in some blues that are showing up off the backside as well. The hail core itself is going to be right in there in the center of that, kind of where that triangle is located. Again, on the southwest quadrant of the storm, directly over Forest Road 1470. Also watching the cell in northern Baraga County right now as well. I noticed on CC it's also showing signs of these pinks and reds, which is this correlation coefficient radar. So what's happening here is you're seeing the uniformity of objects in the atmosphere tumbling around. Anything in the pinkish red is going to be uniform objects, so your raindrops. Anything you see here circled in this box, such as the oranges, yellows, and greens, that is going to be your hail, as hail is non-uniform in nature. Again, it's very spiky. If you haven't seen hail before, it kind of has like little points on each end of it, and it is not circular like raindrops or snowdrops would be. So we're also watching that cell up here in Baraga County as well. It's kind of one elongated storm now, and I would not be surprised if a severe warning was coming either for this cell down here off to the southwest, or for this one off to the northeast. It could be both here in the coming minutes.
Yeah, I was talking to Drew before you hopped on here, Joel. The one over further east near Lance, or how do you pronounce it?
Yes.
That one has a very nice core on it, and surprised it's not warned right now, honestly. I'd expect a warning, or at least a statement for Nichols, at very least, coming for the northern part of Baraga.
Yeah. So if you know anyone in the Upper Peninsula, especially this afternoon and evening, we do have more severe weather coming off from the west that would be heading towards Ironwood and Bessemer in the coming hour or two. Right now, the main concern is in Houghton and Baraga counties across west central Upper Peninsula. And again, if you know anyone up here, you want to let them know severe weather is expected throughout the end of tonight. This severe risk does include most of the Upper Peninsula all the way over to about Luce and Schoolcraft counties. So if you're in the central and western portions of the Upper Peninsula, you should be on alert for a low end all severe, well, I should say medium end all severe hazards risk tonight, as again, the odds are a little bit higher than our normal severe weather event would be in Michigan, at around 15 to 25% odds for specifically hail and damaging winds. And again, a low end chance for perhaps a couple tornadoes. For those just tuning in, this is a level 2 severe thunderstorm warning. Considerable is the tag on it. Out of 3 is the rating. There's 3 different types of severe thunderstorm warnings. This is a level 2, so it's medium range. That again is for 2-inch hail heading through fairly rural portions of Houghton County, heading towards Pelkey and eventually Lance. Lance is not in that severe warning box you can see on your screen. If you know you're located inside that box, you should be taking shelter. If you're outside of it, you're not in the warning, but it likely will be extended downstream here within the next probably 15 to 30 minutes as this crawls off to the northeast at about 20 miles per hour. So that could result in some flooding as well, as mentioned.
Yeah, kind of what me and Joel were kind of mentioning earlier on the briefing. These cells can easily have that flight potential. We're starting to see that here with the cells. It just continues to blossom and kind of extend out. So wouldn't be shocked, like Joel mentioned, a localized flooding threat could be materialized here in the coming minutes to worse.
As mentioned, all that red there and all that pink, if it's not hail, it's heavy rains, and that's all training over the exact same location. It appears we have a new statement coming in. It's all Baraga County. I don't know if it's an extension or if it's that first cell.
It's going to be for Nichols and Ford in that first cell.
Yeah, it's that first cell. It just loaded through in my end here.
A new severe thunderstorm watch has been issued. So not only do we have another statement coming in, but it looks like most of the Upper Peninsula has been issued under a severe thunderstorm watch for this evening. Is that true?
Yeah, it looks like from Marquette west, minus Menominee County. Looks like it's saying scattered hail to 2-inch diameter, scattered gusts to 70, and frequent lightning.
I saw a bunch of the counties rolling through down there, so it probably includes all the ones in Minnesota and Wisconsin as well.
Yep.
That appears to be the case.
Counties included for Michigan are Baraga, Gogebic, Houghton, Iron, Marquette, and Ontonagon, and that is valid until 11 o'clock Eastern, 10 o'clock Central Time tonight. The graphic is posted to the page for those who would like a visual reference.
Once again, that would be for the watch would be issued for scattered hail to 2-inch size possible, scattered gusts up to 70 miles per hour, and frequent lightning. Those are the 3 main things that are going to be in the lookout for the strongest of these storms here.
Yeah. So if you're in the Lower Peninsula, severe weather is not a concern this evening. Again, you don't have to worry about us panning down there because there's nothing going on. We could see a couple pop-up storms later tonight, really beyond midnight, for Southwest Michigan as a secondary low pressure moves up from the south. But again, those storms overnight are not expected to be severe if there are any thunderstorms in Southwest Michigan. Again, it's going to be kind of along I-94 near Kalamazoo, Allegan area, maybe down towards Benton Harbor. But again, no severe weather expected tonight anywhere in the Lower Peninsula. This is just an Upper Peninsula threat. As Ryan mentioned, the Severe Thunderstorm Watch graphic has been posted on our social media pages. Our social media pages has been posted to our X and Facebook. MI Storm Chasers is our username.
There's the one for Michigan popping in there. And by the way, Joel, no sound on mine again. So go figure on that.
Noted.
Once again, the most favorable environment for severe weather is in extreme portions of the western UP. For once again, hail and damaging winds as of now. A very low isolated chance of a tornado is also possible, but as of now, based on the 2 storms we're watching, it's just damaging winds and hail for now. We'll let you guys know if that changes here.
The storm in Ashland, Wisconsin, the MEDAR station there is gusting to over 45, maybe even 50 miles per hour live. And again, this is heading towards the western portions of the UP, Gogebic County. I'll turn off our MEDAR station so it kind of gets rid of some of the clutter here. And there's a Severe Thunderstorm Watch popping in. Anywhere where you see those pink boxes is the Severe Thunderstorm Watch. So pretty much all of the western UP. And this Severe Thunderstorm warning is heading towards Ironwood with winds of 60 and nickel-sized hail possible. Nickel size is 0.88 inches in diameter, so keep that in mind. It's about a county away now from Gogebic County. And we also have this main storm in Michigan right now, which is a considerable severe thunderstorm warning for Baraga and Houghton counties for a storm that's moving 20 miles per hour. It is 8 miles southwest of Nisula, or 21 miles west of Baraga. And again, 2-inch hail is the reasoning behind the storm being a considerable threat. So the pink on your screen, as mentioned, severe thunderstorm watch. The orange box with the red outline is a considerable severe thunderstorm warning. The tan box here you can see on my screen is a special weather statement. That one is issued for 40-mile-per-hour winds and nickel-sized hail, as we mentioned once it came out. And that's heading towards fairly rural portions of northeastern Baraga County in the moments to come. Near Aura, Michigan. Looking at correlation coefficient, it looks like our third body scatter spike and a lot of our greens and blues are starting to dissipate a little bit. So fingers crossed that it's starting to hail itself out, perhaps. But at the current time, we're going to continue to reiterate the wording that it is a considerable threat for upwards of 2-inch hail possibly in these locations. Specifically back in the southwest quadrant of the storm where it was cited that we had perhaps a third body scatter, or we did have a third body scatter spike, which again denotes some very large hail at least tumbling around the atmosphere. And again, this is southeast of Greenland at that time, near NFS Road 1500.
They just continue this for lime-sized hail, so just FYI, continues.
Canceled for Ontonagon County. Continues for 2-inch hail. Got it. You said that was lime size?
Yep, lime, 2-inch.
Yep.
Gotcha. Baseball is 2.5 then, right? 2.5, 2.75.
2.75 is when you get to destructive.
Yeah. So not quite there, thankfully, but again, 2-inch hail is going to break windshields, put some dents in some roofs. So if you are in this neck of the woods, please be taking shelter away from windows. Lowest floor if possible. And the wind threat is fairly minimal with this storm, but again, flooding and hail are top priority right now in the side of the storm, heading up towards Lance in the minutes to come.
Once again, we have more storms developing, mainly on Lake Superior, so not really affecting anywhere in the UP, but not too far away from the shoreline. So if you are along the shoreline at all in the western UP, I would highly recommend getting away from the beach, as these storms have lots and lots of lightning. Once again, still seeing a few comments about Lower Michigan. We're not going to be talking about Lower Michigan today. The newest SPC update literally doesn't even have a thunderstorm outlook in the state. So this is going to be mainly a Western UP focus in terms of any severe weather for today. We'll be talking about Lower Michigan more about tomorrow, but today is not tomorrow.
And right now, especially here in the heart of July, a lot of the population here in the Upper Peninsula of Michigan is tourists, either from in-state or out of state. So if there's anyone that is watching up here in the Upper Peninsula that can share this with perhaps local businesses or anyone else that might be in the area that might not know of us here at Michigan Storm Chasers, again, we're tracking live from beginning to end. But a share and a like does go a long way, even if you don't know anyone. It will help bump it into the algorithm of other fellow people who are in the state of Michigan as this is going on. So please like and share if you haven't already. And considerable severe thunderstorm warning continues for Houghton and Baraga counties in west central Upper Peninsula. And this is in effect until, I saw it, 4:15. Yep. Yeah. Yeah, that's fine. Yeah. And we do still have our day 2 outlook, our in-house forecast coming. Once we do get a break from severe weather here, which who knows when that's going to be, hopefully soon. But we will put the outlook out. It is all typed up and ready to be posted literally within like 2 minutes. So whenever we have an open window, we'll put it out for you guys to see. So stay tuned for that. It'll be on our Facebook, our X, and our Instagram pages very soon. Knock on wood, obviously, because we don't know when it's going to be. So this warning has about 10 more minutes on it. It is back building a little bit, guys. Here just to the northeast of Trout Creek, you can see another cell popping up here. If we switch over to ZDR radar, which is the intensity of your updraft's buoyancy, the hotter the colors, the more positively buoyant these storms are. And so what we have here is all these reds and pinks are these storms that are just continuing to build up on the backside, the southwest quadrant of this storm. We also have what appears to be some downdraft right in the center of that. And indeed we do. So you can see right here on the ZDR radar, there is a hole of downdraft. So what's happening there is the updraft is already collapsing in on itself and likely producing perhaps very, very heavy rain, perhaps even some hail in this location. And again, it does have a third body scatter spike on it, so we will have to watch this in the minutes to come. Ryan, what's the 3D scan look on that one?
Before we do that, we have another warning coming in.
Yep. And I just took the 3D scan myself. It looks like it is upwards of 23,000 feet, and that is a core that appears to be already starting to collapse to the ground, so we could see some larger hail coming in here in just a second.
A new warning coming in for Marquette and northern Baraga counties. Quarter-size hail with that lead storm that was statemented originally. Yeah, that storm right there. New warning incoming there. That's going to expire in 39 minutes. Puts us at 4:45 p.m. Eastern. Only concern with that storm is hail.
Other thing, let's see. In this severe thunderstorm warning text, it says Big Bay, Skaney, Mountain Lake, Huron River Point, and Mount Arvin are all locations. Again, very rural locations of Baraga and Marquette counties. Anyone in a campground should seek sturdy shelter until this storm passes. That's a lot of S's in a row right there. Don't know why they do that, but SSSS. Should seek sturdy shelter. Again, if you know anyone that's camping out there, service is, I can confirm, I'm sure Drew, who was just there, can confirm this portion of the state. Cell service is not ideal. So if there's any way you can get a text out, obviously, that'd be great. If not, again, hopefully the people up there are taking their necessary precautions. If you also live in this warning box and you are able to see the stream right now, make sure you are taking shelter away from windows.
Yeah, anyone in the Big Bay area, especially even along the shoreline as well, the storm's going to kind of sneak up on you. If you're at the beach at all, please get away. As we all know, sand and water is a conductor to lightning. So basically, if a lightning bolt would strike the water or sand, it can spread out and affect multiple people. So when thunder roars, go indoors is the real saying. So make sure, as Joel mentioned, to take shelter, obviously for the hail, but as well as for the lightning threat as well, because this storm has a lot of lightning on it.
Other local places included within that warning are going to be Huron Mountain, Gillett Landing, Burns Landing, Big Bay, Glover's Corner, Macomb Corner, and Meridian Lake area. Sorry, no, Mountain Lake. Mountain Lake, not Meridian.
Turned off the watches so you can kind of see the storms a little bit better there and the warning boxes. More cells also starting to fire up in advance of this line back here across portions of western Ontonagon County and northern Gogebic County. Could still see some action up here in Houghton and Keweenaw County later tonight, but the primary focus right now is going to be Baraga, Houghton, even Marquette, and perhaps Gogebic back here off to the west.
Our original warning has expired for Houghton and Baraga counties, so we're just now with that one new warning for northern Baraga and northern Marquette counties. The hail marker on that cell in northern Baraga County is at 1.72 on GR2.
I have 1.86 on that.
Yeah, if you go up in the tilt 8.0, there's still 60 BZ. Yeah, it's 30,000 feet. So again, wouldn't be shocked if that storm is about to produce hail larger than quarter size as well, because that's a very deep updraft. And when we get those deeper updrafts, deeper cores, we can see some larger hail form, especially in today's environment when the environment's actually kind of conducive to hail. We could definitely see some larger hailstones in there. So wouldn't be shocked if this goes, from quarters to $50, perhaps even golf balls again or higher. But we'll see how this develops in trends here next couple of minutes.
Once again, we have more storms popping off to the west of this main cell in Ontonagon County, as well as that storm that we've been watching behind the scenes here in Gogebic County. So we're also keeping tabs on those cells as they continue to pop up. Right now, the majority of the action's over Lake Superior, but once again, these cells are getting pretty close to the UP as well.
We have a new MD out for flash flooding. The text simply says, repeating thunderstorm threat through the evening will result in localized flash flooding. It goes a little bit deeper into the specifics, but western part of the UP has a flash flooding threat, as we've been mentioning here with these storms. We have one round here in the northern part of Baraga, Houghton, and now Marquette counties. Off to the west, so Joel, if you want to pan off to the west, we have additional storms that are forming off to the west. And that's going to be moving in our direction here in the next few hours. So we have numerous rounds to get through.
Yep, 1-inch hail marker there. A couple of stronger storms over the lakes as well. Again, we could still see portions of Houghton and Keweenaw counties get their severe weather later tonight. But as it stands right now, severe thunderstorm watch in effect for not Keweenaw, but yes, Houghton, as well as a bunch of other counties across the area, including Marquette, Baraga, Ontonagon, Gogebic, Iron, and I don't believe Dickinson's in it. Yeah. So there's all the boxes in the severe thunderstorm watch, all in pink. Switch back to our Marquette radar. I'm going to take a 3D scan of the storm that is not severe warned. Yep, that updraft is now collapsing. If you are out here in rural parts of Houghton County still, round 2, NFS Road 1360. The only road name I have out here. Again, very rural. So that'd be this cell back here that is not warned. Again, we're watching a storm up here that is severe warned in portions of Baraga and Marquette counties now entering. That does have an updraft of 30,000 feet with DBZ values over 60, which means very, very heavy rain to hail. That is lofting very, very high up into the atmosphere. When you have those values, those big droplets that are pulled into the upper levels of the atmosphere, it gets very, very cold. It turns into super cool liquid, and basically you get hail that forms as a result. So that is what's going on out there today, right now, as part of these prefrontals. Later tonight could be more of a damaging wind risk. Go ahead. Noggin or Gogibik or Noggin?
Yeah.
Yeah. Who's muted?
I was there for the last 5 minutes.
Nice.
I was just saying that the western part of Gogibit County and probably the western part of Montanagin will have a likely statement or warning incoming soon as this line progresses further to the east.
Yeah, that warning. We just had a new warning come in here for portions of Iron County, Wisconsin. That does butt up right next to Ironwood. That is 460 mile per hour winds and penny-sized hail. So that's 60 mile per hour winds, 0.75 inch diameter hail. Again, that's creeping towards Bessemer and Hurley and Ironwood at about 35 miles per hour. Also have a cell that's kind of going into Gogibik County. And that'll be kind of pushing up towards Ontonagon, as we were kind of hinting at here. Ontonagon and Gogibik will both have to watch out for a severe thunderstorm here coming soon. Right now, in terms of severe thunderstorms in the state, we have Baraga and portions of extreme northern Marquette County in the UP. Very rural areas, and this warning does include Big Bay. By technicality, it goes halfway through town, so the north side of town is included in the warning, and the south side of town isn't. But you are close enough, if you are in Big Bay, that you should be taking shelter for the storm that's coming down the way. Will it maintain its strength to Big Bay? We'll see. Better to take your precautions now than, rushing at the last second and getting into shelter with 30 seconds to spare.
Joel, take your velocity over the Lance area. Am I saying that correctly? Lance?
Yes.
I'm seeing an increase of velocity there past couple of scans just to the south of Lance there as it moves into Marquette. Moves into the central part of Baraga there. Looks like I'm getting roughly...
New warning.
50 mile an hour or so. New warning incoming here. It's going to be for...
I think it's for the cell that I was mentioning way off to the west. Because I saw Houghton's included again.
Yeah, Baraga and Houghton until 5 p.m. And it's going to be... I'll get the graphic up here, Rolls.
$50.
$50, not surprised.
1.25 inches in diameter. Issued for southwestern Houghton and west central Baraga till 5 p.m. Eastern. Locations impacted include Baraga, Lance, Herman, Echo Lake, Bob Lake, Assassins, something like that.
Assassins.
Assassins. And not assassins. And Prickett Dam. For protection, move to interior room on the lowest floor of the building. So this does include downtown Lance now. And I think it's this cell primarily off to the southwest quadrant again. And again, further development can still and probably will still occur across this region. So we could see more cells fire up here right along M28 and continue to feed into the storm, resulting in continuous severe thunderstorm warnings over and over again until who knows when. And that will also result in flooding as well. Again, this entire stretch has been training over itself now for the last, hour 15, something like that. We've been live for about 52 minutes now. And storms have been going all up and down this corridor since the start of this live stream. And again, these are not just your normal average everyday light rains either. It's anywhere you see these reds on radars, your very heavy rain. So we can see rainfall rates 2 inches per hour easily. PWAT's up there today, by the way, precipitable water in the atmosphere, 1.75 inches and higher.
I was going to mention, speaking of the flooding, just looking behind the scenes here at total precip, we're already having multiple areas getting well over an inch of rainfall with this cluster of storms here. So, like we were mentioning earlier on, very heavy rainfall falling down. Obviously, the hail is the main concern, but once again, flooding can be a big deal. We've seen it in the past. And yeah, we already have over an inch of rainfall throughout many locations here with a storm cluster that's been progressing over the past hour.
Take a look behind the scenes and exactly what's going on here. Yeah. Bunch of different frontogenesis bands in the area. It's going to be training over the same area for a while. Very healthy regions of Cape within the freezing layer, which the freezing layer is pretty low to the ground as well. So yeah, this hail threat's going to continue for a decent while this afternoon. Again, we have 2 severe thunderstorm warnings in effect, both level 1s right now, but still in effect for hail of 1 inch and 1.25 inches in diameter. If you're in the first cell, it's 1 inch. The second cell back here, 1.25 inches. Tornado threat is low, but not zero. Portions of the UP tonight. Looking at our winds, going back to this real quick. Again, I'm not seeing a whole lot. There are a couple of specks in here that are very, very bright greens to even starting to see some blues. A lot of these miles per hour that are reading here are around 45 to 50, so fits well within the severe thunderstorm warning texts that are ongoing. But nothing in terms of severe. Still strong winds, but not severe. Should be taking shelter from the hail, though.
I would imagine really soon here they might issue a warning for Gogebic County here shortly. Storm is now basically right along the border of Wisconsin and the UP.
Yep. Ashland, Wisconsin gusted to 52 within that storm.
Yeah, I find it kind of ironic, not ironic, but I find it interesting that they warned it for wind, but no hail over there as it moves in toward Gogebic County. And also the area to the west of the state line in Wisconsin has a flood advisory now. I would expect one to be issued for portions of the UP at least very soon. I have to imagine we're going to have some training and flooding up there as these storms progress.
Yeah, I just turned on all the flood alerts as well. So anywhere you see a dark green box here, kind of tough to tell. But there's a big flood watch across all of northern Wisconsin right now, northwest Wisconsin. And again, that flood advisory is here in that lighter green box. So it butts up pretty close to the Michigan border. Starting to see what could be an outflow boundary now on the storm heading towards Astoria. Outflow boundary is a sign of winds moving out away from the thunderstorms, and that could also pull the development of further storms further to the south. So if you're in the US 41 corridor here, near Astoria, maybe towards Michigami and Champion, storms could start to get pulled your way with this outflow boundary. Hail-wise, I'm still seeing a couple spikes in here on the back side of the storm, which would line up pretty well with our 1.25-inch hail that's likely ongoing. Specifically, it looks like right here, right on the border of Baraga and Houghton counties. That's going to be Forest Road 191 at Forest Road 531.
I find it interesting because the Wisconsin side of the warning is for nickel size hail. Michigan side's for $half. But if you look at the radar, it's more so kind of split further north into Michigan where the core is, so makes a little bit more sense.
These storms should stay away from Isle Royale, at least for the time being. We'd be looking anywhere back off to the west for Isle Royale. So here's that new orange box on the screen for the new severe thunderstorm warning. As mentioned, $half size hail. Locations impacted include Ironwood, Bessemer, Wakefield, Hurley, Little Girls Point, Ironwood Airport, Copper Peak, Black River Harbor, and Saxon Harbor. People attending blasting at Copper Peak should seek safe shelter immediately. Gonna get sick and tired of that tongue twister, I tell you. 1.25-inch hail and winds less than 50 on that warning.
I want
So
to
it's tiny little chunk of Gogebic County.
take a note of the storm in northern Baraga looking at velocity. Not going to say intense, but there's been an increased velocity over on that side as that moves into Marquette County.
East Central.
Yeah, yep, you're looking at it.
Right in there. Outflow boundaries continue to pull that storm a little bit further south, so that makes sense. Winds here about 50 miles per hour. Height off the ground about 2,000 feet, as low as 1,750. Further southeast you go. As it gets closer to Marquette here, it'll get closer to the radar site, and so we'll see a little bit more verification of what's happening closer to the ground.
Yeah, last couple of scans especially increased that velocity. The good news, though, is that there's really no big towns or even townships that I see on Radar Omega showing up on the eastern part of Baraga or the western part of Marquette.
Couple pixels of 50-mile-per-hour winds back here as well. Still seeing this hail core just north of Covington as well. About it. As mentioned, very rural out here in portions of the UP. Heading off towards Baraga Plains Road, south of Lance. All on the Upper Peninsula today. Severe weather not expected for the Lower Peninsula. We have a couple batches of severe storms ongoing right now. 3 different warnings to be exact for portions of Houghton and Baraga and Marquette, and now Gogebic County in the western UP, and that isn't Central Time, by the way. So you're in effect till 4:15 Central, 322 Central. Severe thunderstorm is located near Gurney, or 60 miles west of Ironwood, moving east at 40 miles per hour. Once again, that storm out there is 1.25-inch hail.
Once again, we're in a slight risk for severe weather for the western UP portions, as well as a slight risk for excessive rainfall, which that's why we were kind of mentioning consistently now of that flooding concern in certain locations across western UP as well.
Joel, did you say you had the tomorrow forecast ready to post?
At some point, yeah.
Is it already written, ready to go?
I just need to add a closing paragraph.
Okay.
But yes, it is ready.
If you want to go ahead and do that, I can lead, or Drew can lead here. I want to get
Okay.
that up because we have a lot of people asking about tomorrow, so if we can direct them somewhere, that'd be great.
Yep. Feel free to take over on radar if you want.
Okay. So zooming out here, giving you guys an overview, we have one, we're going to call it a complex blob of rainstorms and some large hail, perhaps some gusty winds mixed in here. It's going to be across northwest Marquette, north central Baraga, and the central part of Houghton counties. These severe warnings are in effect. The one up here for northern Marquette and northern Baraga is in effect for 15 more minutes for quarter size hail and winds less than 50 miles per hour. The warning back here is for $half size hail and less than 50 mile per hour winds. So there's two warnings here. We also have a third one back here by Ironwood. Go ahead and take our Duluth radar back here in Minnesota. This is going to be for $half size hail and 50 mile per hour winds. So 3 warnings in effect across the UP. There is no severe weather expected further downstate today. Your risk will come tomorrow. In fact, we can go ahead and toggle those on briefly to talk about that and areas impacted for today. Here is your day 1 outlook. The slight risk in yellow, this area here. And the dark green color over here is a marginal risk, a low-end risk for severe. General thunderstorms possible further east towards Sault Ste. Marie and maybe perhaps even Mackinac, the very far tip of the Lower Peninsula. Now, for tomorrow, however, for those of you watching from downstate curious, here's your day 2 outlook. The entire Lower Peninsula, and there's actually part of Menominee County over here by Mackinac as well, the UP, that is included within tomorrow's marginal risks. Now, across the pond in Wisconsin and Illinois, we have a slight risk that could be extended over. We have a couple areas, couple scenarios that could happen, pop-ups during the day, tomorrow afternoon, but later on in the evening, we have a line potentially forming over here and pushing across the lake towards West Michigan. So we could see a slight risk added perhaps tomorrow for portions of the LP, but for right now, the entire state falls in a low risk tomorrow for severe weather. Damaging winds, your primary concern at this time, but that could change, so stay tuned for further updates. But today, further downstate, enjoy a dry day, no severe expected. We are strictly focusing on the UP. We get asked all the time, hey, do you guys cover the UP? Or why don't you guys cover the UP? We do. It's not often we actually have severe weather up here, but today is one of those days, and we're live for it. It's Michigan. We cover all of Michigan. So UP is going to be the focus, so there's just nothing happening down further state. So go ahead and toggle that back off. Here we go.
Yeah, that cell by Ironwood is continuing to impress me personally. Lightning rates picking up, velocity is looking a little more impressive, and that heavy rainfall band is just continuing to stay consistent as it moves off to the east.
Yeah, it looks like it has reports back further to the west near Bayfield County. 52 mile an hour wind gusts there. Let's go ahead and take Duluth radar. It's a little closer to the storm. Let's go ahead and get a beam height on our hail core. Actually, it's a very healthy looking storm. It's 37,000 feet, and it's, wow, 55 dBz. That's a very tall core.
Yeah.
That's crazy. 30,000 feet, decent looking. 25 is still decent, but yeah, that's a very, very tall storm here. So not surprised it's warned for $0.50 and 50-mile-per-hour winds. I would not be shocked at the winds on this. It was pretty gusty. Wouldn't be shocked if they were to up that to 60, honestly, based on latest radar. We'll see if they adjust it. But for right now, the only hazard with the warning is for $0.50 size hail. One thing I want to notice as well with these storms back further to the east is most of the cores of these storms have diminished, and it's kind of shifting south. I think there's a boundary there, perhaps pushing out to the south, that's initializing additional updrafts south of these warning polygons. So most of the cores of these storms are kind of moved out, or at least very close to moving out of the polygons.
Yeah, the lightning rate continues to pick up with that cell just northwest of Ironwood, which sometimes can be a sign of a strengthening updraft with this cell. So we're going to be watching this here closely as it starts to enter into the UP here.
It's pushed almost all the way into the UP now. It's a little bit offshore there. Also, do take note if you're up here in the very far western part of Ontonagon, there's no warnings up here, but still likely a stronger storm pushing inland very shortly, if not already pushing to the east here across the western part of Ontonagon and even the northern part of Gogebic. Turn the hail tracker on this. Definitely, you can see the core is much more healthy further south than it is up here further north, but still probably some small hail falling up there. Just definitely more potent further south here as it pushes into Gogebic County. So these warnings, number one, the warning up here in Marquette and Baraga, that's in effect for 10 more minutes. I would not be shocked if they expire that early because these storms have pushed almost completely out of that warning polygon. We still got some rain up here, some lightning, but for the most part, the hail cores look to be out of the polygon. Further south and west back here in Baraga and Houghton, we have this warning for $0.50 size hail in effect for 25 more minutes. And then the warning for Gogebic back here to the further west is in effect for 40 more minutes. So respective times there put us right around 5:15 for Gogebic, right around 5 p.m. Eastern time for the central part of Houghton and central part of Baraga, and then 4:45 for northern Marquette and northern Baraga.
The post has been released.
Perfect. I'm going to go ahead and update the prompt. Are you ready to take your screen back or need a second?
I'm just rereading through the post, making sure I didn't have any spelling errors.
You missed a J.
Yeah, newest velocity via the Duluth radar has picked up once again on some stronger winds. Obviously, with it being really far away, may not be fully mixed into the ground, but once again, not really seeing any signs as of yet of the cell weakening.
So they continued trim back that warning. That's again, these IAM alerts 5 minutes after they get posted.
Mm-hmm.
It's crazy. So that's old news. Already talked about that.
It looks like I'm good. Julie, if I made any mistakes, I know she'll call me out.
There's definitely a hail core here. North of Ironwood. I'm trying to find other towns here for this cell. That's one good thing about the UP is there's not near as many towns or townships like Ryan was mentioning earlier on. But still, nevertheless, a lot of, as Joel was mentioning, a lot of campers. It's a time of year where a lot of people go up north. So having a game plan is always important, especially if you don't have an area of good cell service. Being aware of what's all happening, whether you have a weather radio or really multiple ways to receive warnings, is really important when it comes to these kinds of situations where you have severe winds and hail, as well as frequent lightning kind of coming into your area, because it does not take a lot. I was camping recently in northern lower Michigan, uh, and I know for a fact with a camper, especially with an awning or anything like that, it doesn't even really take severe winds to cause problems to either flip that or just cause problems and not have a good time and put yourself in a stressful situation. So you obviously don't want to be in that situation. If you're downstream of these storms, I would definitely be on the lookout just in case they continue to hold their groove together, which I would not be shocked in terms of the Western UP. Once you get more into Central and Eastern UP, confidence in severe weather kind of decreases. And once again, if you're in Lower Michigan, you're not even in a thunderstorm outlook. So today is not the day to be concerned for severe weather for today. But once again, Joel just got that post out or forecast up for severe weather potential for tomorrow. But right now, we're going to be mainly focused on what's happening today.
I think we're good. On my end of things for the post.
Well, I'm gonna pop out and eat something. So it's all you, Joel.
Great. Puts me at the top. Oh, my radar is live. All right. Windy and thundering in Bessemer. Thank you for that report, Nicole. Storm is rolling very close to Bessemer right now. That warning does include the town, and this warning is in effect till 4:15 Central Time, so still got about a half hour on this. Warnings continue across Baraga, Marquette counties, as well as portions of Houghton. Still for the same hazards of 1-inch hail and 1.25-inch hail. Winds primarily underneath 50 miles per hour. And right now, no tornadoes really in play for this line of severe weather. So good news there. Photographs are slightly skewed to where there could be a little bit of a rotation, perhaps in later storms, but right now not favorable. It's going to be just mainly a hail threat.
Looks like we have some gustier, mainly non-severe winds just entering into northwest Marquette County. But as Joel was mentioning, nothing near as concerning as what we were seeing before. But we'll keep an eye on it just in case if it would intensify.
Now, I will point this out. This is still very far away from the radar site out of Duluth. But you can see here on radar on your velocity scan, there are some very, very strong winds just north of downtown Bessemer, all the way up to these rural portions of Gogebic County. And this, as it continues off to the northeast, this is going to be entering Porcupine Mountain State Park, which is where a lot of people are camping this time of the year. So if there's any way to let people know that are camping out at Porcupine Mountain State Park this afternoon, as the others heading their way, obviously you can probably hear the thunder coming, but this is a very strong thunderstorm heading their way. Again, this warning is not in effect for 60-mile-per-hour winds, but we're seeing pixels of 63 and 65 here at about 7,000 feet off the ground. So not very close to the ground, but it could be mixing down to the ground. It just depends on what the ground truth is saying. So don't run the risk of radar data that is 7,000 feet up. Pretend that 60-mile-per-hour winds are occurring at this location, and you should be taking shelter indoors for both the hail and now the winds north of Bessemer and north of Connerville and Gogebic County. For those who are tuning in for perhaps an update on tomorrow, the severe weather outlook from us at MSC has been posted on our page, on our Facebook page, and our X page. You can search up Michigan Storm Chasers on each, and it'll pop up. If you want a way to receive warnings during severe weather events, obviously apps are one way to do so, but if you follow us on Facebook or X, the warnings are automatically posted as they are issued in text form. So following us on X at MI Storm Chasers is a good way to do so. As long as you turn on notifications, they do pop in and you'll be alerted. They don't send obviously a notification, but it is still better than nothing. In terms of a sound notification, of course, unless you do have sound alerts for your phone. Winds now getting close to 70 miles per hour. Again, this is 7,100 feet off the ground, moving in towards the Porcupine Mountain State Park in the latest scan. Let's see what the Marquette radar has on that. Curious to see if it has the same thing. It does. There it is, right there. The radar beam at this height, Drew, is 13,000 feet off the ground. So the Duluth radar for Gogebic County is probably a little better.
Yeah, it's definitely really far away. It's in an area where radar coverage is not ideal, so getting accurate measurements via radar are going to be pretty difficult to make. So this is when ground truth is very important. So if you guys are around this region at all, once the storm passes by, if you guys want to report anything, whether it's tree damage or any pictures of hail or anything in relation to that, feel free to send that to our Michigan Weather Report page, as well as the National Weather Service Marquette page as well. It's like the severe thunderstorm warnings for Baraga County
I think all
are
of them.
canceled. Oh, you did?
All of them have been canceled.
Yep. So just one severe thunderstorm warning right now.
Very interesting, considering I do see some heavy winds here, about 1,200 feet off the ground, very close to severe limits, entering Marquette County. This is an unnamed road here, way north of Champion. So there's this big windy road back here that heads up towards Big Bay. This is where those gusty winds are at, circling them on radar there. Anywhere you see those light blues and greens, starting to turn into kind of a cool blue, sky blue. Those are winds of close to, if not at, 60 miles per hour. So we'll have to keep an eye out for future warnings for that storm as the outflow boundary continues to pull those storms along. You can see on your screen as you loop it here, those orange boxes have disappeared. The only severe thunderstorm warning remaining in effect is over here in Gogebic County, western UP, in effect till 4:15 Central Time. So we're just kind of waiting to see if this warning expires here. This is the only severe warning left, but I'm sure we'll probably see more coming. I'm just guessing right now. We'll probably see one come in for Ontonagon County or perhaps Marquette County in the coming minutes. But again, if you're in the Porcupine Mountain State Park, this is the entrance is right here, I believe, if I recall, somewhere in that vicinity. So this is pretty close to where everyone is camping and hanging out today. If you haven't been to the Lake of the Clouds, it's a very, very cool location. There's your winds again. That is quite the pocket there, Drew.
Yeah, it's been spiking here and there throughout the past 15 to 30 minutes here, and it's once again spiking up again. Also looks to be further to the west, some mini supercells that are forming in northern Wisconsin. They should remain outside of the UP, I believe, here. But we'll keep an eye on them if they continue to head more eastward rather than northward.
If you're in the Lower Peninsula, as a reminder, no severe weather today. Thunderstorm is really not a possibility today unless it's going to be late overnight into tomorrow morning with an approaching low from the south. Otherwise, again, main severe threat for tonight is western UP and central UP, primarily where we're looking right now here in Gogebic County, heading up towards Ontonagon County. Anyone has any reports from Gogebic County? We're looking primarily around and north of Bessemer right now for these winds, perhaps some hail. Let us know. Again, it looks like there's right here on our velocity radar still that pocket of wind moving up towards extreme western Ontonagon County and the Porcupine Mountain State Park. Bergland, White Pine up next for the storm as well. Please be taking shelter indoors away from windows. As this wind heads up your way, that is a nice pocket of wind right there. Unfortunately, you do not want to see that in very rural portions where a lot of tourists are this time of the year. But unfortunately, no control over the weather. You just got to deal with the punches, and hopefully everyone is taking the necessary precautions up here. If you know anyone that is up here right now in the Porcupine Mountain State Park today, please let them know the storm is now within minutes of striking. Lake of the Clouds State Park especially, that is in Ontonagon County, but that is heading your way. Eventually, if this does stay together, this will be heading towards Ontonagon and Rockland. Current trajectory does have it closer to Ontonagon, but any outflow boundaries can push it a little bit further south.
For those that are wondering, we're keeping an eye on cells further to the west in Wisconsin and Douglas County and Bayfield County. They just had a severe thunderstorm warning issued there, including a tornado possible tag. You can see a hook that is forming down there right now. So these storms are heading northeast. So hopefully they will stay a little bit more to the west and hit more Lake Superior, not Western UP. But once again, we have multiple storms that are just continuing to pop up, and this cell is definitely a supercell in my opinion. that definitely could have a tornado risk as it continues to move off to the northeast.
Yeah, there, as mentioned here, there is really no cell service up here, so we're just kind of hoping at this point that everyone saw the forecast before they went out there today. At most, there's one bar. I've been up here in the Lake of the Clouds before. You really have to get close to like the lake shore, for example, and kind of get the beam that kind of bends around the lake shore there. I saw there's a warning coming in.
Yeah, new severe thunderstorm warning for Ontonagon County, and that would be for 60-mile-per-hour winds and half-dollar size hail.
Yeah.
So that would be an upgrade on the winds from 50 now to 60-mile-per-hour winds. Hail is remaining the same in terms of how that's the largest hail that they are currently expecting is half-dollar size hail as this cell continues to move off to the northeast here.
Yeah, that swath of damaging winds is now entering Porcupine Mountain State Park, right where you see this little ball of yellow here. This is winds of 68 miles per hour at 7,900 feet off the ground. So it is pretty elevated. We won't know unless we have ground truth down there at the lower levels. But if you're in the Porcupine Mountain State Park, know anyone up there, obviously cell service being pretty poor, it's going to be hard to get the alert out. Weather radios, obviously, up here in this side of the state are very, very much needed. Again, weather radios have a great range. They run on 162 megahertz. And they also have battery backup if you do lose power out here. So Midland weather radios are good for places that do not have cell service. And again, today's a good example of that here in western Ontonagon County where this new warning has come in. As Drew mentioned, 60-mile-per-hour winds, half-dollar sized hail, which is 1.25 inches in diameter. It will be near, it will include Porcupine Mountain State Park, as mentioned, Bergland, Mirror Lake, Clark Lake, Lake of the Clouds, and White Pine. That's really it. Again, rural portions of western Ontonagon County.
It's been looking at
Probably 3 minutes away from crossing in Ontonagon County here.
yeah. Once again, the cells by Baraga County as well as Marquette County are continuing to weaken. You can see the outflow boundary that is now sagging to the southeast as well. So currently no severe thunderstorm warnings or special weather statements with this cluster right now. Perhaps some gustier winds, as Joel was mentioning, in northern portions of Marquette County on the 40 or 50, I believe. I just want to make sure. Yeah, potentially 40, 50 mile per hour wind gusts. So not quite severe, but gusty nevertheless. So they continue to move to the east here towards Lake Superior.
We'll have to watch these storms as well, in case they do perhaps start to rotate a little bit. Again, the shear vectors in this side of the state right now are fairly lackluster, for lack of a better words here. But there is still enough spin out there where something sneaky could pop up. But at the current time, this is more of a damaging wind threat. We're not seeing the reds and greens pronounced next to each other. We're just seeing mainly bright reds, which is winds moving away from the radar at a very high clip. But again, these storms they kind of, if you look at our base reflectivity here, Drew, they do start to look, they kind of have that backwards kidney shape look on it. Starting to develop. Obviously, on velocity radar, don't really see anything that's indicative of rotation, but something to monitor if this becomes less downdrafty and more rotation-y over the next 15 to 30 minutes here. Yes, we are still at 29 tornadoes for the state here in 2025 this year.
Rotationary. Add that to the dictionary.
Yep.
The MSC dictionary. Once these cells are continuing to move off to the east here, and we'll eventually be able to use the Marquette radar here shortly to get a better picture of what these cells are doing.
Let's go take a look at these cells in Marquette. Still fairly gusty winds gusting in here, over 50 miles per hour at 700 feet off the ground. So definitely a strong shower, but not severe. Curious to see if they're going to issue like a statement on it, but I feel like they would have by now, if anything. So. Damaging winds now have entered Porcupine Mountain State Park, crossing into Ontonagon County right now.
Yeah, I'm kind of curious what the cell will do here as it continues to move off to the east. Obviously, the better radar used right now in terms of getting the best idea on how the storm is playing out is the Duluth one, but via Marquette, you can definitely start to see a little bit of a hook-like feature and some reds and greens starting to match up. But once again, with it being so far away, it's most likely just more in the upper levels. So this is when ground truth is very important here to verify stuff.
Also have Ryan back in here in just a minute, probably. Maybe, sorta. He's waving.
I'm here.
How was your food, Ryan?
Excellent. Couldn't ask for better.
Could use some right about now. That'd be great.
Go ahead, Joel. I got it.
Okay. Also, thank you for tuning in OMA. Have a great time back at work. I'll leave my radar looping.
Okay. Just so you know, Joel, if this becomes, or this warning gets dropped, I'm going to stop the stream and have you take over. Just so you know. I don't think this will be dropped, though, because the winds with this storm are pretty intense. Let's go ahead and switch over here to GR2's radar.
You gotta use Duluth, yeah.
There we go. Duluth is 8,500 feet. Marquette is
10,000 or more.
11,000. Yep, you're right. All right, so we're just going to use Duluth's radar here. This is going to be your pocket of damaging wind now traversing very close to Lake Superior and the land mass of the UP here. I don't see any big towns on Omega. I see White Pine and Silver City as the only towns that are in the path of this particular storm. So your pocket is going to be right here where the brighter reds turn into like a yellowish tan color. Those are 60 plus mile per hour winds as that pushes in now to Ontonagon County towards that White Pine area. Silver City and White Pine along M64 is going to be where the general area of this wind is heading. This warning is in effect for half-dollar size hail and 60-mile-per-hour winds. So wind and hail both a concern, but half-dollar size hail can definitely put a dent in some things. So take it seriously. The radar at this location is not very close to the ground, so it's not giving us a good depiction of what's happening here. There's your hail tracker. It looks like that biggest hail core is going to be just offshore on Lake Superior, north of White Pine.
Yeah, if I would be on Road 64, I'd be definitely mindful of this here as it continues to move off to the northeast. Definitely, once again, heavy rainfall, hail, and wind. That would not be fun to drive through. It would rapidly reduce visibility. So if you can, try to find a safe area to pull over. I'd highly recommend that as the storm continues to move off to the northeast here. Now, there is no longer 2-inch size hail for Houghton County.
This warning is in effect for 56 more minutes. Ontonagon and northern Gogebic County. Outside of this storm, the storms that were warned earlier from Marquette and Baraga and parts of Houghton County have now just turned into rain showers. So no concern there. Could have some gusty winds though here. I would not expect these to be reaching the ground. They seem kind of cluttered in the rain showers here, but perhaps some gustier winds regardless happening just north of the Marquette area. And that's going to be moving on to Lake Superior here soon, near Halfway Village, Birch, and Buck Row.
I will say too, Ryan, the cells in Bayfield County in Wisconsin are continuing to mature. Looks like they'll mainly stay, based on the current track they're on, looks like they'll mainly stay on Lake Superior, but definitely something to watch as one of those severe thunderstorm warnings does have a tornado possible tag. So looks like we do have some small supercells trying to blossom in Bayfield County in Wisconsin.
I just realized that I wasn't sharing the radar over here. There's your rain showers as they push through Baraga and Marquette counties.
If you guys have any reports of any hail or tree damage, feel free to send that to our Michigan Weather Report page on Facebook, as well as to the National Weather Service in Marquette, whether it's through social media or through Spotter Network or Ping. I believe PNG, I believe, is the other app, right, Ryan? Or
MPing.
Yeah.
Well, we have a second here. Looks like most of the storm is now pretty much on Lake Superior, just brushing the very far northern part of Ontonagon County here, just north of White Pine. This storm back here does have wind with it as well. But other than that little portion here impacting the White Pine area shortly with damaging winds, these storms are pretty much affecting localized areas here. Looks like they just expired the warning for Gogebic. So now it's only in effect for Ontonagon. We'll see what they do with this. And okay, it's the other one. Okay, not the one that's on the screen. This one back here, the box. That got expired. This one continues, though, the bigger box. But we have a second here. I'm going to give a shout out to our sponsors while we have a brief pause. We have sponsors here who keep operations rolling at MSC. We got Storm Guard Roofing and Construction, based in Detroit Metro. We got Lifestyle Exteriors, based in Lansing. Katz Roofing and Siding, based in Lansing as well. Mike Hayes Roofing and Siding, based in the Thumb of Michigan. McKay Tree Specialist, based in Southeast Michigan. Kuiper Tree Care, based in West Michigan. FBI Buildings, across much of Lower Michigan. On Top Roofing in Livingston County. Schneider Commercial Building Solutions, across most of Michigan. We have Shield Public Adjusters, across most of Michigan. Top Gun Roofing and Exteriors in West Michigan. A-Class Construction and Restoration up in Mason County. Rainbow Restoration in Kent County. We got Guardian Technologies, our Skycam sponsor in Burton. And last but not least, our communication sponsor, Rapid Radios. Appreciate all the sponsors that we have here at MSC. If you happen to need their services, feel free to get in contact with them or with us, and we can put you in touch with the proper people if you need their services. Excuse me. This warning continues for 51 more minutes for $50 size hail and 60-mile-per-hour winds. I would not be shocked if they were to expire that early, as the storm is moving pretty rapidly through that warning box. I can't imagine it's going to take another hour or so before, hey look, Joel has food. That means that we're going to be on here for at least another hour, because you know what happens when we have food here at MSC.
Gasp. Insert gasp.
But this storm is actually moving through the polygon here pretty quickly, so I can't imagine it's going to take an hour for the storm to get over onto Lake Superior here. So
Yeah, the cell that's more over Lake Superior is intensifying, whereas the cell further back in Ontonagon County is continuing to weaken as well.
Yep. And after this warning is dropped, we're going to end the stream here. So how it works is one of us has to host the stream. And that was me, because Joel had a meeting. So I still got stuff to do on the back end of things. So if this warning gets dropped, we're going to end the stream. And if anything else goes warned, we're going to have Joel pop back on and host it. So just an early heads up, if this warning gets dropped, we're probably going to pop out pretty quickly and get set up for another stream just in case. Because we do have more storms off to the west, and even some rotation over here in Wisconsin, guys. I just noticed that. Got a nice area, pocket of rotation on a looking supercell there in Bayfield County, Wisconsin. So there is a threat. Actually, looking at radar, these are all supercells. Every single one of these storms is a mini supercell. But decent rotation over here in Wisconsin. That's actually 15 and looks to be 22, about 40 to 45 miles per hour gate to gate. It's not quite warning criteria, but that's kind of close. Getting a little too organized there. I have to keep an eye on that. That's pushing into western part of the UP here in the next hour or so. So we have additional possibilities of severe weather outside what's currently happening. So stick with us. We'll be tracking every severe and or tornado warning in the state, in the UP today. I say in the state, but we cover the entire state, but today's risk is in the UP. There's no risk further downstate.
That area of damaging winds, Ryan, appears to be sliding a little bit further north now. Unfortunately, directly over Lake of the Clouds right now. So, again, fingers crossed everyone there has taken adequate shelter, seeing that the storms were rolling in.
Yeah, Silver City and White Pine areas along M64 there are also going to be impacted with this. Silver City especially. It may miss White Pine to the north, but be very close. Silver City is going to be up here where this little white line intersects that yellow line right over here. That's going to be Silver City. Not on the map here, but that's generally where it's heading. And once that pocket gets over onto water, I wouldn't be shocked if they were to cancel that warning because the storm, aside from that pocket, doesn't look too impressive for hail or other winds. What's my 247 at 29? There we go. Yeah, most of the hail's on the lake there, so I don't think hail's a huge concern currently with these storms. Going to take back the other screen that I got pulled up. There we go. In fact, looks like the warning just got dropped, guys.
Yep, it did.
So, not surprised by that at all. But still, if you're up there in Silver City, and I think, Joel, what was the lake up there? Lake of the Clouds, you said?
Lake of the Clouds.
If you're up there in that area, probably some gustier winds occurring, but the majority of the storm will be pushing onto Lake Superior. No longer poses a severe risk here. So, if you guys are not opposed, I'm going to hit the outro here, and we're going to keep a close eye back to the west on these storms here because these are supercells and they are rotating. In fact, that one wouldn't be shocked that one goes warned in Wisconsin. So this is heading our way. We'll see again if they're going to rotate into Michigan or they're going to be more of a wind risk or a hail risk. We'll watch it. We'll be back live probably sometime later this evening. In the meantime, any objections, Joel or Drew, to rolling the outro and getting set back up for round 2?
I'd say go for it.
right.
So that way I can take over for you.
Yep. Perfect. Sponsors already been taken care of, so that's all good to go. In the meantime, we're going to pop out of here, let you guys enjoy your evening, and if you see us live again, it'll be for the UP, as there is no risk for severe weather downstate. Tomorrow is a risk, though, so stay tuned for updates on that. There's a forecast that recently got posted. Go check it out on our Facebook page. Other than that, we'll catch you guys later. I'm Ryan, alongside Drew below me and Joel below Drew. We're going to sign off, be back live later on if need be.
See you, everyone.
Guys.